not subscribed to Car D Kaizoku.
Car D Kaizoku.
This video is sponsored by gumgum.gg. Discover the latest OP10 deck list on gumgum.gg, updated daily. Be the first to see decks for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1000 deck lists per set, gumgum.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. We're going to be doing a Purple Luffy ranked data deep dive. We're going to be looking at ranked stats, his matchup spread, card usages in his deck, the most common deck list on the ranked sim, and then also a tournament deck list with this leader, and even OP10, how he performs in OP10 by looking at the East, and also the price of the deck. Pretty much everything you need to know about Purple Luffy, conveniently packed into one video. So yeah, I've done one of these on Blue Doflamingo and BY Luffy too, so check those out if you haven't. To be honest, those two videos didn't do too hot. I'm gonna chalk it up to being leaders that aren't too popular on my channel already anyway. So if this Purple Luffy video fails too, yeah, I think this series is doomed, so this might be the last one. But we'll see, right? It's up to you guys if it continues or not. Yeah, and if not, I'll just go back to doing like the weekly power rankings. I don't know. It's like regurgitating the same data to you week by week. It doesn't change too much, but I do think that I do go deeper than most other content creators with that power ranking anyway. So not the worst thing, right? I'll at least feel glad that I'm providing you some extra value that you won't get anywhere else. But yeah, without further ado, Purple Luffy is a meta deck, top meta deck. It's not like the top. I think that title belongs solely to Blue Doflamingo at the moment, but he's a contender, right? Definitely a top 3 or top 4. And special shout out to TCG Matchmaking and OP Bounty for the ranked sim, just so that we have these data points to analyze. It's really cool stuff that I've personally really dove into really deep, a lot more than the other content creators from what I've seen. So I hope the effort does not go unnoticed. So if we take a look at the leader summary page here, we do have a huge sample size to pull from, right? I'm looking at the entirety of OP09 on the ranked sim for 1 billion berry plus data. These are high ranking players, and I know they have like rank resets that kind of like funk up the data, but I think due to the sheer size of the sample size of these Purple Luffy matches, I think that discrepancy is like accounted for, right? 24,342 matches with 12,265 wins. That gives us a 50.39% win rate, pretty much even against the entirety of the OP09 meta, but slightly, ever so slightly favored, a 0.39% chance by 0.39%. Yeah, it has a play rate of 10.58% amongst all OP09 leaders on the rank sim. Has a going first win rate on average of 58% and a going second win rate on average of 40.86%. So definitely a go first kind of deck. The discrepancy between going first and second is really high, and this is just the average too. You're gonna have nuance depending on the leader you play against, but just overall an average of 58 versus 40, it's pretty huge. But let's take a look at what he's strong against and what he's weak against. So against Shanks, pretty much a 50-50 matchup, and then going first you do have that advantage versus going second against him. In fact, I'm gonna venture to assume right off the bat that he has a better going first matchup into every leader just due to how high that average is. But yeah, Blackbeard, 54% win rate. It's a little favorite. I wouldn't consider it like a imbalanced matchup, right? It's not completely unwinnable for the Blackbeard, but going first you have a 60% versus a 49% going second. I do notice that the first and second win rates don't add up to 100%. I'm pretty sure it should. But yeah, you can check here, TCG Matchmaking's data. I'm just displaying what is available from their data, right? So if you want to find out why this is, you're going to have to ask them, because I don't have access to the inner workings of their data either. I'm guessing like the rank resets kind of funk up this number a little bit, but I think the overall trend is pretty true. Right, here's a screenshot on screen of what you can see if you're checking in the OP Bounty rank system on the sim. It shows the exact same numbers that I'm getting here. And yeah, BY Luffy is 61% favored on Purple Luffy side. That is a really high win rate. I would consider this like a definite strong matchup for Purple Luffy. You do have a better going first win rate, but second 57% is pretty good too. Against Purple Black Luffy, yeah, every deck beats this deck besides like Lucci for some reason, so that's expected. You have a 71% win rate going into Enel, so this deck completely poops on Enel, right? You're cheating out so many aggressive high static bodies that Enel just runs out of counter at some point. Now his weak matchups, he is weak to Blue Doflamingo, so yeah, having a weak matchup into the best deck in the format is not a great position to be in. with the only saving grace being that going first against Blue Doflamingo is 48%. It's not the worst, right? It's nearly 50-50, but going second, 30% win rate is really low. It's probably impossible to win against Blue Doflamingo if he gets to pick and wins the dice roll. Against Lucci, we've been historically bad into this deck ever since Lucci released, so that hasn't changed in 09, even though our deck got turbo buffed. Right, 43% win rate against Lucci. We do have a better shot going first. It's actually above 50% going first, but going second, it's horrible for us. And that's because a lot of the counter cards we used to run against Lucci are especially bad against Blue Doflamingo. Right, so you pick your poison. Do you tech against Doflamingo and lose to Lucci, or do you tech against Lucci and lose to Doflamingo? Either way, it's hard to like find that balance, right? Because you had the cutout cards like Magellan that are good into Lucci, but yeah, that's the unfortunate spot that Purple Luffy is in the meta. Against Red Purple Luffy, also loses slightly, right? It's a 47% win rate into him. Going first though, you do have a winning matchup, it looks like. So yeah, it's just that dice roll that's holding Purple Luffy back. That 50-50. Against Bonnie, you're doomed either way. A 43% win rate overall, 48 versus 36 going first versus second. Similarly with Bello Betty, 39% win rate overall, 35 versus 45 going first versus second. So either way, you're gonna lose. She just pumps out too much aggression. Pretty much, Purple Luffy cannot use his leader ability against Bello Betty, which is like locking away a lot of the benefit that you have with your leader. Because the more you ramp, the more you're susceptible to dying to all the aggression that they can spit out. Here are the most used cards at a glance. We're going to go into more detail on this in a later tab. And then here is his trending win rate since December 30th. So he's always been hovering around 50, right? It's gone up, but like not even a full percent. It went from 49.99 to right now 50.39. It's a pretty stable performance. Nothing new has been discovered in any of his matchups or with the deck itself. Let's take a look at the mirror risk. So this tab shows how risky it is to bring this deck to a tournament, taking into account the play rate of the deck and then the variance between their first and second win rates in the mirror. And yeah, I mentioned this in previous videos. Purple Luffy is the riskiest deck that you can bring to a tournament, if you're worried about mirrors, that is. Because he has a 10.58% play rate that is incredibly high. Not only that, his first versus second variance is a 43% difference, right? There's a 71% chance to win if you're going first versus a 28% chance to win going second. This is a very, very huge variance, giving him a mirror risk score of 0.45, which is like more than double the next highest one in Shanks. So yeah, your Purple Luffy matchups are going to be plentiful, and then in those Purple Luffy mirrors, whoever wins that dice roll pretty much determines who wins the game from these kind of stats here. But again, this is ranked data, play rate. I guess in IRL tournament attendance, the play rates could differ, but I wouldn't think it would differ too much, right? So I think it is analogous to compare ranked sim play rates versus IRL event play rates. In which case, yeah, Purple Luffy, if you don't like playing mirrors, it's not the deck for you. We'll take a look at the card usage for the deck. So these are the cards that are 100% utilized in all Purple Luffy lists that I have available that I can query from the sim. And then on the top right is the average quantity of the card in each of the lists. So the 7-cost Sanji is an auto include in all the Purple Luffy lists that I could find. They run it as a 2.5 of, so like 2 to 3 copies. Gum Giant is also included. This is like your defensive tool that helps you survive against a Blue Doflamingo, and it helps you like survive against every deck actually. And it's not a 4.0. I thought this would be like a auto include as a 4 of, but 1 or 2 people don't run this Gum Giant for some odd reason. Same with Zorojuro, 100% in every deck, but not a 4 of. Slightly less than the Gum Giant too. That's kind of odd. There must be some bizarro Purple Luffy list out there somewhere on the rank sim. And this is a 1 billion berry plus too, so this is a high ranking Purple Luffy list. Luffy Taro is also not even 100%, it's 98.95. Same with Sangoro. In fact, maybe full OP09 might be skewing it a bit. Let's take a look at just the last week. Right, maybe like very early on in the set, there's some like weirdo who ran a weird list with Purple Luffy. Yeah, we do see 100% on the Luffy Taros now. And the Sangoro is an auto include 4 of. There's still one guy who only runs 3, Zorojuro somewhere out there, oddly enough. And same with Gum Giant. I still think that's kind of weird. But yeah, Kid is running all the lists at 3.63, so not a 4 of, right? Some get away with just 3. This Linlin, 100%. run rate, but quantity of 2 to 3, leaning towards 3. This is to handle the blue Doflamingo matchup. Searcher Law, yeah, now it's 100%, 4 of. Sanji is 93% at 4 of. Kamazo also 93% and as like a 2 to 3 of, leaning more towards 3. This Furnosuke too, he's good into Blackbeard and he's running 80% of the decks. The 2k counters in this deck don't matter too much. Well, besides Usohachi, that is. And then we have Mr. 2 running 80% of the decks at a 2 of, right? I don't think any of the tournament lists run it as a 4 of anymore. And it's an expensive card too, so the more reason to cut this guy, the more people will want to justify it, right? Onami running 75% of the decks as a pretty much a 3 of. Same with the Chump Blocker Nico Robin, 75%, but as like a 2 of. Queens are still run in Purple Luffy decks. I still like Queen. I think I run a combination of Queen and Kid in mine. 25% of decks run it, and then as a 2 of. 25% of decks run the Starter Deck 10 Discard Law 2 as a pretty much a 2 of, and then same with the Usopp, 25% 2 of. It's probably me. I'm the guy running this. This Beppo 2K is run in some of the decks. It's just interchangeable with the Furnosuke and probably less so the Kamazo. But yeah, it's just a 2k counter in purple. And then 6% of the decks run Magellan because they hate Lucci. I understand them because I hate that deck too. But no more than a 2 of in the deck. And then Jet Gatling still being run even though we have access to Gum Gum Giant now. Right, I guess they value having to be able to use your non-counter cards for 3k. But they don't run too many non-counter cards anymore, so I don't know. But yeah, 2 of on average for the 6.25% of the decks that do run it. Now let's take a look at the deck list on the sim. And then since we looked at the last tab for just the last week, let's do the same on this tab. Okay, so the best deck is the list that I determined based on the win rate of the list versus the play rate amongst all the other Purple Luffy lists on the rank sim at this like ranking level, 1 billion berry plus. So the list that my formula picked is this one that has a 50.32% win rate with a total cost of $243 if you buy the cheapest version of each card. And yeah, it does run the 2 Mr. 2s as we saw, and then 2 9-cost Luffys, 2 9-cost Moms, and yeah, 4 Gum Gum Giants and 4 Zoro. So that's not weird there. And then 1 Cheeky Furnosuke for the Blackbeard matchup. No Usopp though, so they run a low amount of 4 drops in this list, opting more to run like the Chump Blocker Robins. We'll take a look at the highest win rate list too, just to see. Yeah, these are more skewed against the play rate, because the lower the play rate, the higher chance that you could get some like insane win ratios, like 68% here. But even then, it's not too different from the other list. In fact, this looks like the kind of list I would run, right? The 2 Usopps, 2 Queens, and 4 Kids, and then I would run more Kamazo over Furnosuke, and I would fit Mr. 2 in somewhere. Yeah, 4 of the Linlin is very like anti-Doflamingo tech. Same with the 3 7-cost Sanjis. So yeah, this guy just hates blue Doflamingo. I understand though. We'll take a look at Purple Luffy's full matchup spread. This is against the 20 most played leaders. I could go more than 20, but I don't think we want to see like how he does against like the fringe decks. Because yeah, overall he does have like 12 winning matchups against the top 20 most played. And then amongst the top 5, these 5 here, he has winning matchups into 2 of them, not including himself. But if you win a dice roll against yourself, you have that 71% win rate, right? So even then, it's barely a winning matchup into Shanks, and then it's a really losing matchup into Doflamingo and Lucci. But yeah, decent, good matchup into Blackbeard. So it's not until like the later most played leaders where he has like incredibly high win rates against them, right? Be by Luffy, Enel, Nami, Smoker, Robin, Boa, and then Reiju. You have really high win rates against them. But if we're talking about like the top meta, the most played leaders, it's not like incredibly in Purple Luffy's favor. Then we'll take a look at tournament prices. So between the Booster Box December Treasure Cup and then the Latin America Finals and then the North America Finals, there's 6 Luffy lists that made top 8. And then the average price among all these Luffy lists is $235 if you get the cheapest version of each deck. So we'll take a look at Tyranitar's list, 6th place at the NA Bandai Card Fest. Looking at this list, it kind of looks exactly like the one that we just saw on the ranked sim, right? It runs Queen and Kid, the highest win rate one. Oh, I do see a difference. The Linlin's at a 3 of instead of 4, and then this 9-cost Luffy's 1 higher. It could very well be that Tyranitar is the person who ran that list on the ranked sim, and we were looking at his data. And yeah, it's cheaper than the other lists by a lot, just because there's no Mr. 2s. Let's take a look at a more recent one. So Latin America finals, Joaquin Ho. Are they Chinese or? Because it sounds like Joaquin, but maybe it's a name that can work both as like a Chinese name and then like a Latin American name. They could be Chinese born in Latin America. So yeah, that is a cool way to have a name that fits both cultures. Let's see what their list is composed of. So 2 9 Moms, 2 9 Luffys, 2 Mr. 2s. Ooh, they run Noro Noro Beam, Sword, and then 2 of the starter deck 10 Laws. So it's more like low to the ground, right? Less high drops and more like 4 drops. Let's take a look at how lists are doing in OP10 in Japan, courtesy of GumGum.gg. They have a lot of Asia lists that I don't keep track of in any of my tools. So this is HG's list. I actually reacted to his match at the Wave 2 finals in Japan. He runs some interesting choices here, right? He runs this Usohachi that I don't think anyone in the West runs. You have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, and he attacks with 1 Dawn attached. You can rest a 4-drop. This could be like, I don't know, tech against Jesus Burgess or something. There must be some 4-drop that he wants to tap with this card. What else is interesting here? This is starter deck 10 Law, 3 Lin Lins. Oh, no Mr. 2 or Usops. The 4-drops he runs is the starter deck 10 Law, and that's kind of it. Besides the Zordro, that's auto-included in every Luffy deck. And then you have 3 Onamis. Okay, interesting. Then we'll take a look at Putichai's list, who got 2nd place at the Thai Wave 2 finals, whatever their tournament is. Their list is looking more standard. Right here's the Mr. 2s. No crazy Usohachi tech, besides the one that everyone runs. 3 Limlins and 2 9-cost Luffys, 2 Sanjis. Yeah, this is more of a list that most people are expecting. So it looks like even in OP10, it still does well, right? Putichai got 2nd, and then HG got top 32. So no new cards are added to the deck. It still runs the same as it always has. So if you invest in it now, it'll still last you until OP10 at least. Probably even further than that. And yeah, that's every tool that I built, every tab that I have to show with Purple Luffy data. I hope you could find this useful. And again, this is like the last chance I'm taking with this series, so I hope it does well. And if you like this series and want to continue, please share it, please like, comment, subscribe, so that I know that this video is not doomed. I'm just hoping that it's because my audience doesn't like Doflamingo or BY Luffy. But yeah, Purple Luffy, that's sure to get views, right? I was the Purple Luffy guy for a while, so I'm pretty sure I've attracted a lot of Purple Luffy viewers. And yeah, if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it too. I want to make these better for you guys. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks again to OP Bounty and TCG Matchmaking for creating the ranked sim so that we have data points like these to analyze, right? I think these are insights that like a lot of players on the East never had to work with. So it's very cool stuff. I hope it helps somebody out there. And it would make me feel better that these tools, all these tools I made, were of some use to somebody. Yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.
Car D Kaizoku.